You stroke your rabbit and come away with a handful of fur. There are tumbleweeds of it drifting across the floor. It is on your clothes. It is in your koppi, and your bunny looks like it is coming apart at the seams. And somewhere in the back of your mind is a worry. All that fur they are grooming off themselves. Where is it going? And is it dangerous? Molting is one of the most constant realities of owning a rabbit in Singapore. So let me walk you through managing it safely. I'm a fellow rabbit owner here in Singapore, not a vet. This is how I handle the endless shedding with my own rabbits and what gets discussed in the local rabbit groups, where molting season is a running joke and a real concern. It is not medical advice. It is one owner helping you keep the fur under control and your rabbit comfortable and being clear about when a molt crosses into something a vet needs to see. Before we get into it, a quick note on what a healthy coat should feel like, so you have a baseline. A rabbit's normal coat is soft, fairly dense, and springs back when you stroke against it, and the skin beneath should be clean pink with no flakes, scabs, or sore patches. Keep that picture in mind, because the whole skill during molting season is telling ordinary heavy shedding, apart from a skin problem hiding under all that loose fur. First, let me reassure you that molting itself is completely normal. Rabbits shed their coat and grow a new one, and they go through this several times a year. A typical molt can be dramatic, with fur coming out in clumps, sometimes in a visible line moving across the body. And your rabbit can look patchy and scruffy for a while as the old coat goes and the new one comes in. That is normal. Some rabbits molt tidily. Others look like a moth-eaten cushion for a couple of weeks. As long as the skin underneath looks healthy, pink, and not sore or flaky, a heavy molt is just part of rabbit life. Now here is the Singapore reality, and it surprises people who grew up reading rabbit care written for cooler countries. In places with proper seasons, rabbits molt mainly in spring and autumn, but we do not really have those seasons. Our climate is warm and humid all year round. The daylight does not swing much, and the result is that rabbits here tend to shed more continuously all year rather than in neat seasonal bursts. So if it feels like your rabbit is always molting, you are not imagining it. Our climate genuinely keeps them shedding more steadily than the textbooks describe. That is normal for a Singapore rabbit, and it means grooming is not a seasonal chore here. It is an ongoing part of care. So why does the shed fur matter beyond the mess? Here is the important bit. Rabbits groom themselves constantly, obsessively, and when they groom during a molt, they swallow a lot of loose fur. Now, unlike cats, rabbits cannot vomit. They physically cannot bring fur back up. So any fur they swallow has to pass all the way through their gut and come out the other end. Usually it does, mixed in with everything else, and you will often see fur strung through their droppings during a molt. Little poops linked together like a string of beads. That is the system working. The risk is when too much swallowed fur, combined with a gut that is not moving well enough, causes a slowdown. So our job during a molt is twofold. Take as much loose fur off them as we can before they swallow it, and keep their gut moving well so whatever they do swallow passes through. Let me bust a myth while we are here, because it causes confusion. The old idea of a hairball that needs to be coughed up or dissolved, the cat-style hairball, is not really how it works for rabbits. A rabbit does not get a hairball in the cat sense. What can happen is that fur gets caught up in a gut that has slowed down for some other reason, and then it becomes part of a blockage or a slowdown. So the fur is usually a passenger in a gut problem, not the sole cause. That distinction matters because it tells you the two things that actually protect your rabbit: brushing off the loose fur and keeping that gut moving. And keeping the gut moving comes down to one hero: hay. All that grass hay your rabbit should be eating unlimited amounts of is what keeps everything, including swallowed fur, sliding steadily through the gut. During a molt especially, you want your rabbit eating loads of hay and drinking well, because that is the engine that carries the fur out. So a molt is a great reminder to make sure the hay pile is generous and fresh, and that water is plentiful. Fiber in, fur out. It really is that simple as a principle. Now the practical part: brushing. During a molt, brushing is the single most useful thing you do, because every bit of fur you remove is fur your rabbit does not swallow. So up the grooming. A daily brush during a heavy molt is not too much. There are a few tools owners like. A fine-tooth comb is great for working through the coat. A slicker brush or a grooming glove pulls off loose fur nicely. And many people swear by a rubber grooming tool, the kind with little nubs, which lifts loose fur beautifully without scratching the skin. Some owners gently use a soft pet-specific de-shedding tool, just carefully, because a rabbit's skin is thin and delicate, and you never want to drag hard or catch the skin. Work gently, in the direction of the fur, and let your rabbit get used to it as a nice thing. A little tip on getting fur off without a brush, which works wonders. Lightly dampen your hands with water and run them over your rabbit's coat. The loose fur sticks to your wet hands and lifts off in clumps, and a lot of rabbits tolerate this better than a brush because it feels like being stroked. It is also great for the bits a brush misses. Just your slightly damp hands and a bit of patience, and you would be amazed how much comes off. Do it over a bin or outdoors, unless you fancy fur everywhere. It also helps to know the difference between fur a rabbit is shedding and fur it is pulling. A female rabbit, even a spayed one, may sometimes pull fur from her chest and belly to make a nest, especially if she is having a false pregnancy. That is hormonal nest building, not a molt, and the bald patch is deliberate. It is usually nothing to worry about on its own, but if you are ever unsure whether a bald patch is normal molting, nesting, or a skin problem, that is a fair question for your vet, because a sore, red, or flaky bald patch is a different thing from a clean molt. A word on technique and our climate. Our humidity can make loose fur clump and mat, especially on long-haired rabbits and around the bottom, so regular brushing also stops painful mats forming. For long-coated breeds like lionheads and Angora types, daily attention during a molt is really not optional because their fur tangles fast in our damp air. And never ever try to cut out a tight mat with scissors close to the skin, because rabbit skin is so thin and tears so easily that people accidentally cut their rabbit. If there is a stubborn mat you cannot gently comb out, that is a job for a groomer or vet, not a pair of scissors at home. One more grooming note. Please do not bathe your rabbit to deal with shedding. Rabbits should not be given water baths. It is deeply stressful for them and can be dangerous, and it does not help a molt anyway. Brushing is the answer, not bathing. And skip the idea of giving anything by mouth to dissolve fur unless a vet has specifically told you to, because those products are not the fix people think they are, and the real protection is fiber and grooming. Now the honest health line, and this is the one to really hold on to during molting season. The danger is not the molt itself, it is if a rabbit's gut slows down. So the warning signs are the same gut warning signs as always, and they are urgent. If during a heavy molt, your rabbit starts eating less or stops eating, if its droppings get smaller, fewer, or stop, or if it goes quiet and hunched, do not write it off as just the molt tiring them out. A rabbit that stops eating and stops pooping is a rabbit in trouble, and that is a get to a rabbit savvy vet straight away situation the same day. I am a fellow owner, not a vet, so I will not tell you what is happening inside or how to treat it. I am telling you that not eating and a drop in droppings, molt or no molt, means you pick up the phone fast. Let me bring it together. Molting is normal, and in Singapore it tends to run all year rather than in neat seasons, so expect ongoing shedding. Rabbits swallow loose fur when they groom and cannot bring it back up, so your two jobs are to brush off as much loose fur as you can, daily during a heavy molt, and to keep that gut moving with unlimited hay and plenty of water. Use gentle tools, mind our humidity and matting. Never scissor out a mat or bathe your rabbit, and skip the herbal remedies. And if your rabbit goes off its food or its droppings shrink during a molt, treat that as a vet emergency, not a molt symptom. Bring practical extra for our flats. All that loose fur gets everywhere, and it clogs litter trays and water bowls and can end up matted into bedding, so during a molt, clean those a bit more often. A tray full of shed fur is less pleasant for your rabbit to use, and fur floating in the water bowl puts them off drinking, which is the last thing you want when good hydration is exactly what helps fur pass through. So a quick extra cleanup of the tray, bowl, and bedding during a heavy molt keeps everything working the way it should. Managing a molt is honestly just a bit more brushing and a good hay habit, and once you settle into it, it becomes a nice bit of bonding time. Your rabbit gets comfortable, you get the fur off, and the flat stays a little less furry. Everyone wins. If this helped, come over to singaporerabbit.com. We put out a free weekly digest made for Singapore rabbit owners, plain and practical, with care tips made for our climate. And we keep a directory of rabbit-savvy vets right there for the day a mouth worry turns into a gut worry. It is all free and all made for owners here at home. And if these are useful, subscribe and stick around, because the next video is about helping an overweight rabbit slim down safely, the kind way. I will see you there.